I probably started dancing when I was like 3 years old. It's tough.
The world has been taking all of Britney Spears' mistakes and holding it against her. But could it be possible she was the innocent one all along? You may remember her as the iconic 2000s pop star who raised millions of teen girls. We know you had her posters and albums scattered across your room just like us. But behind her perfectly crimped hair, dates with Timberlake, and international fame, this star struggled all throughout her childhood. While her family wants us to believe they had an ordinary home life, it's no secret anymore that her troubled pop star image stems all the way back to her Mickey Mouse Club days. With a hidden traumatic childhood and pressures that we could literally never imagine having growing up, you're about to be asking, who is the real villain in Britney's story?
What I do, I just cope with it every day.
Let's throw it back to the 1980s in Macomb, Mississippi. Just like a lot of young girls, Britney had dreams of making it big. But according to her, she never exactly fit in with pageant girls in her town. In fact, she even admitted she thought of herself as ugly growing up and had body confidence issues at such a young age. I wished my hair was thicker, I wished my feet were prettier. Unfortunately, those thoughts are all too relatable in today's world, and our heart breaks just thinking of little Britney struggling. But she never stopped working day after day in the dance studio and taking voice lessons, and eventually went on to prove her hometown wrong. Not to be cliche, but a small-town girl making it big? That's straight out of a movie. Yet her life wasn't as perfect as everyone thought. In fact, it was far from that. Britney moved from Mississippi to the Big Apple, where she first was rejected from the Mickey Mouse Club, and went on to compete in the 90s talent show Star Search, where she lost. So here we have a barely 10-year-old girl facing not only rejection in her hometown, but in the real world. That couldn't have been easy on such a small soul. In 1992, it seemed like she finally found her place, and it was surrounded by some of the industry's biggest celebs. Her BFFs Ryan Gosling, Justin Timberlake, and Christina Aguilera were all a part of the Mickey Mouse Club alongside her. On screen, she seemed like the happiest 12-year-old with her upbeat personality and magical voice, and even happily did a tour of the studio years later. It's no wonder no one ever really questioned what her home life was like. And it wasn't until years later that the world found out that when Britney left set for the day, she went home to a scarily dysfunctional home. In her 2000s tell-all novel, Britney's mother, Lynn, opened up about the situation with her ex-husband, describing him as an alcoholic who drags a would-be happy Southern family down the road to dysfunction. Britney's uncle has also spun the tragic tale that when her father became violent after drinking, Britney would spend the night at her aunt's trailer down the road. He even once attempted to run away with Britney. But despite Lynn's attempts at divorce and a protective order, the two stayed married for years to come. Britney's childhood is a reality for tons of other American families, and not being able to talk about it in the spotlight and deal with her emotions at a young age could have very likely caused some lasting psychological problems. So could this be the reason for her troubles down the road? I mean, even her sister, Jamie Spears, attempted to cover up the situation by saying that her and Britney's life growing up was just like any other kid's life. Was she forced to say these things? She did, after all, make her way into the spotlight on Nickelodeon's Zoey 101 a short while later. Or was she just too young to realize? When Britney moved on to the next stage of her career, nothing changed. Well, she became internationally known and an idol to millions of teens across the globe. But her problems during childhood only came to the forefront even more. She was praised for her hard work, but sources claimed the only reason she worked so hard was to escape the life she was living away from the spotlight. But then, life as a star became just as rough as life at home. Britney's bodyguard once said that she is the product of some very bad genetics. And it was only a matter of time before Britney's own mental health became the forefront of the picture. Let's put this in perspective. Britney spent years of her life in a home with a father who was an angry alcoholic, dealt with intense self-image issues, and then was thrust into the world of fame where every bit of her life was seen by the entire world. That's beyond rough. That's almost unimaginable. To top it all off, those image issues never stopped, and her acne outbreaks didn't make anything better. With hits like Baby One More Time, Oops, I Did It Again, and I'm a Slave for You piling up on the hit charts, so did the pressure. I mean, Britney herself even wondered why she was even a star. I'm a shy person, and I'm particularly not really made for this industry.
Sometimes it can get kind of lonely. You're guarded, you know?
So why did she continue to perform? Is there something behind the scenes we weren't aware of? Or was it still an escape from the reality she was living? But slowly, her life away from the dysfunction at home became her reality at work as well. She was being heavily controlled by her agents, stylists, producers, and anyone who she should have been able to trust. Things got real dark. She was only given an hour break each day for some downtime. Pretty sure that's illegal, and everything she did, wore, and said was chosen for her. At this point, was she even her own person? Did we ever really know who the real Britney was? Remember how the Mickey Mouse Club was kind of a safe house for her? Well, into her adulthood, that also came crashing down, until Britney basically had no one to rely on. Her 2-year iconic relationship with Justin Timberlake, someone she trusted, came to an end after he accused her of cheating. I mean, just look at the heartbreak in her eyes during an interview about it. Not to mention he publicly ridiculed her with the song Cry Me a River. We've all been through messy breakups, but imagine the whole world watching as they're happening. Her childhood best friend, Christina Aguilera, also turned her back on her. She called her a lost girl, distant, and desperate for guidance. She was condemned for getting breast implants at a young age, and when she saw the criticism, cried in the bathtub for hours. Did Britney walk so the Kardashians could run? It sure seems like it. But at what price? No matter how much she begged for a break, my anxiety has just been crazy. Maybe I'm just changing and getting older, but I find I need to have my downtime. Just to myself, or I'll go crazy. She never got one, until she finally actually broke.
I'm sad.
She was just coming off of a drunk Las Vegas marriage that lasted 55 hours, to then getting into her messy marriage and divorce with Kevin Federline. Not even Britney's kids, Sean and Jaden, could save her from this one. Can we blame her? Just take a look at everything she's been through all of her life, not to mention growing up and seeing her parents' relationship and lacking a proper father figure definitely didn't help when it came to her own romance. She even admits she married for all the wrong reasons, and that she married because she liked the idea of everything. She was still that little girl longing for that normal life. She was reportedly abusing alcohol, constantly partying, and even her bodyguard admitted that she was frequently on high-risk illegal substances. There might actually not be a meme more popular than the one that includes Britney Spears shaving her head. It was the peak energy of 2007, and let's be honest, will probably be remembered for years to come. After that very public meltdown, Britney spent months in and out of rehab, and even lost the joint custody she had over her 2 boys. This caused her father to step back into the picture. Yep, her father. He reportedly has been sober since the mid-2000s. Enter the conservatorship, and the hashtag Free Britney movement that has been literally ruling the internet. Fans, and now celebs like Snooki, Paris Hilton, and Bella Thorne are under the impression that she is still being controlled like she was earlier on in her career. Her father was put in charge of all of her finances, every single penny. Since getting sick, her care manager has since stepped in, but this celeb literally has no control of any aspect of her life. While her father has tried to claim that these conspiracy theorists don't know anything, and Jamie Spears has gone on to shut down people who think her social media posts are cries for help, we're just not so sure anymore. In the end, how can we blame Britney for all of this? She never had a proper childhood. She never dealt with any of the issues she was dealing with, both at home and in the entertainment industry. So how can anyone blame her for the struggles she's gone through in her adult life? We now know from experience that everything is not what it seems. Hello, Wizards of Waverly Place. So the hashtag Free Britney conspiracy in all reality could be onto something. In other words, keep petitioning, you Britney stans. She could use some positive support. Britney Spears will go down in history as one of the world's biggest and brightest pop stars, but at what cost? Although it's reassuring that the celeb seems to finally be on a more stable path, the hashtag Free Britney movement is worrisome. What do you think of Britney's childhood? Do you think it's the reason she experienced such a troubled rise into fame? Spill all the tea with us in the comment section below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to The Things for more content just like this. Catch you later!